Hello, guys. The One Man Night Watch is here again. Actually, it might not be night for you. It might be afternoon if you're in Australia, since we are playing in Australia, the United Cup. It might also be evening for you, wherever you are. Hello. We are going to be watching Tallon Griekspoor Casper Ruud today. And it's quite a vital match for Team Norway, especially here. Tallon Griekspoor gets this sort of a freebie, and if he cannot defeat Casper Ruud, then there's still mixed doubles for Team Netherlands, and they have probably the best mixed doubles team in the competition, although it's arguable. Of course, every single time we have this conversation. It's just so hard to estimate whether Demis Hurs and Wesley Kohlhoff actually get better than, I don't know, let's say Świątek Hurkacz or Fritz Pegula for that matter. So yeah, one of the best anyway. So Netherlands definitely in a good spot here. What made it happen? Arantxa Rus's win 7-6, 6-1 over Malin Helgo, which happened just now. Hardly a surprise, but still, Helgo did hold up pretty well, especially in the opening set. She got it to a tiebreak, but eventually it's Team Netherlands taking the lead. Hi. I was about to say hello, black screen. Yeah, that's probably not me. But we are fine now. Anyway, Casper Ruud is starting the match. It's 30 all. He actually was already 15-30 down. Who is the favorite here? Tallon Griekspoor, underdog for the bookies, but let's be honest, he has a very live chance of winning this one. We basically have Casper Ruud, who's never been that good in the Australian summer. He's like heavy topspin, forehand playstyle. Probably not too great in these conditions. And then you have just Tallon, who's obviously had a super solid year, blasting the serve and forehand combo. I like his chances quite a lot, and especially given that he has that freebie, as I said. It's sort of like when he played Sinner at Davis Cup finals, and of course then it didn't materialize. They actually ended up losing the tie, but yeah, it's a similar situation where he can just sort of go all out at Ruud, whereas Ruud is the one who has all the pressure on himself. It's not the first time they've played, although in a way their previous matches are somewhat irrelevant because Tallon Griekspoor, well, of course he had a breakthrough season in 2021. 2022 he was like barely holding up, I guess, on the main tour, and it was only last year when he really became like a top competitor. So I don't know if we can really count any matches before then. Actually take some sort of notes from that. I don't know. But anyway, Talon beat him in 2015 at an ITF event. I mean, we're definitely not going to be looking too much at that one. Then Koblenz Challenger 2019. Tallon Griekspoor also wins, and in 2021, Casper Ruud beats Tallon Griekspoor in Acapulco, second round. But I guess, yeah, in 2021, when that match was happening, Ruud would have been a huge favorite there. So the fact that they still went to a deciding tie break, we'll see. But certainly, we cannot disagree with the fact that Griekspoor has a very good chance of winning this match. Yeah, Demon Nori, I actually didn't watch it at all. I woke up today at like 11, but I had to go play tennis. Well, I wanted to go, so I didn't catch Demon Nori. The Australian nights so far are definitely going to be quite tough in my time zone. Today, my plan is to watch this. If there's still enough time, I will also try to watch Lehečka Zhang. Maybe catch a bit of Zheng Vondroušová, depending on how it's going in relation to this match as well. Like maybe if this match finishes and they're already playing, maybe I will catch that too. But the plan is to wake up for the Polish tie. Świątek playing Halat Maja, then Hurkacz Sejpow Wild. I wish I could see Kerber's return against Jasmine Paolini, but that's about 7 a.m. for me. So I don't think that's happening given that I'm staying up here and watching this match. Solid start from Tallon Griekspoor as well. That one forehand was like 250 kilometers an hour, seemingly. And then at 40 love, he follows it up with this slice approach to the net. Surprising call, but well, 40 love. Obviously, that's a moment when players might try some weird stuff, only to keep the opponent guessing. And on this particular occasion, it certainly did surprise Casper Ruud as well. So we are back at 1-all. That's a great return from Griekspoor, reactive on his forehand. Casper could avoid that sort of return in the future, and that sort of a serve, honestly, in the future. It seems like it will sort of fall into Griekspoor's strike zone a bit too much, but of course, early days, he's still kind of learning, I guess. I know he's played Tallon 3 times, but the last time was 2.5 years ago, so over 2.5 years ago. So it's not like they've been facing each other on a daily basis. Lots of shots on Wesley Kohlhoff on my screen. Of course, the recent doubles ATP number one, not anymore. But he recently announced as well that he will finish his career after the 2024 season, which came to, I think, a lot of us as a huge surprise because, well, if you're doing so well, why are you wrapping up your career? But of course, that's his right, and it does put a sort of a bit of a twist on his season, right? Whenever we see Wesley Kohlhoff this year, we're gonna know that this event he's playing for the last time. Griekspoor still trying to be very aggressive with his returns here, but now they're misfiring, and he goes down 15-30. That was a palpable chance, though. That second serve was there to be taken. I might even tune into the Hedgekashank when it starts and talk about that one a little bit as well. But we're mostly going to be talking about Griekspoor Ruud for sure. That's Timo de Bakker, I think, as well, right? Timo de Bakker, I think, is a reserve player for the Netherlands in this competition, which is pretty interesting. Of course, once upon a time, a phenomenal junior got to 41, I think, in the world, then retired for a few years. Now he's back. I don't know what really he's going to be able to do on the pro tour, at this stage of his career, but he's back after a few years and probably not going to play here. But well, maybe the Netherlands will have some sort of a mixed doubles dead rubber, right? And maybe they throw him in there, but it's still fun to see him on that sort of a stage again. Yeah, as soon as Tallon played the slice, Ruud just pounces instantly, gets to his favorite position on the court, hitting the inside out forehand from the backhand corner. And there's not that much that the Dutchman can do. This is, by the way, the first match that we are watching and this United Cup that's played in Sydney, because we have Sydney and Perth this year as the two main cities. Sydney is actually going to be the one that stays with us longer as well. It's going to host the semis and the finals. Yesterday we watched Perth. We had a watch along for, what was it, Saboville Davidovich Fokina, right? The court seemed pretty fast to me, so let's see if Sydney is also going to be like this. Last year it was definitely quite quick, and I would say also favoring flat hitters, somewhat like the Australian Open, which I guess is pretty cool that they had this sort of consistency. So one more thing that I have to mention, and yeah, it's actually on the screen at the moment. 4966 subscribers, 34 left until our goal of 5,000, which we wanted to get until the end of the year. Is it doable? I think so. I think since yesterday, especially when we gained like 30, I started believing. So you guys know what to do. Oh yeah, and Mike was asking about how many different cities is the United Cup being played, and interestingly, that It's more or less around the time when I was talking about it. Kolhov made that announcement. Yeah, retirement 2024. They also split up, right, with Skapski. So I guess it was two retirements in a way. If you slice to Ruud and Nadal, you are pretty much toast, says Gene. And yeah, that's very true. I think Ruud is rarely mentioned in this conversation because, well, you don't think of him as that sort of a deadly player. And yeah, he's definitely more spin heavy, I guess, rather than pace heavy on that forehand. But still, like if you just look at let's say like speed breakdowns of ATP players' forehands, he's gonna be high up in both. And yeah, it's good to throw him into that conversation. Yeah. Nadal is probably the player that people go to the most when talking about players who, like, if you slice against them, you're dead. But yeah, that rally in the previous game was a pretty good example of that, where Griekspoor felt like if he just slices to the Ruud backhand, he's probably safe. But Casper just covers the court so well and manages to hit an inside out forehand from, despite starting in a position that didn't seem like it was going to be possible. Yeah, some weird shot selection here as well from Griekspoor, so um, maybe he still needs some time to get into this match. That second serve and volley worked out pretty well, though. Ruud about 3 meters behind the baseline, just lifting the backhand return into the air, and the soft touch on Tallon's volley actually was really nice. When he played the Davis Cup finals in doubles in that tie against Italy that I mentioned, which of course Tallon Griekspoor lost to Yannick Sinner before that one, and then they basically face each other on the doubles court again. Griekspoor playing with Wesley Kolhov and Sinner playing with Sonego, right? I think. He actually looked like really inadequate at the net in that one, but maybe it was also the quality of Kolhov's serving that sort of made things tougher for Tallon. Anyway, in singles volleying, he's definitely much sharper. Ruud is not certain that if that Griekspoor forehand down the line went in, but I guess he is not even challenging, and probably rightfully so, as I believe that it was indeed on the line. Is Kolhov the captain for Netherlands? I guess he must be, right? Because they're constantly showing him, and he's talking to Tallon. I'm gonna check that now. But yeah, Wesley Kolhov is a playing captain for the Dutch team, whereas for the Norwegian team, it's Christian Ruud, the dad of Casper. Looks like I missed a pretty spectacular forehand combination of Griekspoor. First cross and then very early down the line. Will be interesting to see if he can get out of this one, but no. The moment Ruud has him on the defense, it's pretty rough. Speaking of Christian Ruud, I do have him on my screen right now. See, lots of the people in the Norwegian team are impossible for me to recognize. Ulrika Ikeri is probably the only one I would be able to maybe pick out of the lineup, but most of them not really. It is a very Casper Ruud heavy group for sure, especially as Durasovic is not playing this year. He was kind of like an icon of this ATP Cup, United Cup thing, to me, honestly, playing it all the time since 2020 and sort of always getting, of course, into the event because of how good Ruud is, how high ranked Ruud is. but actually holding up pretty well, and definitely a player with a lot of untapped potential. But this year he just chose not to play it as well. The number two players at the moment, they just don't really matter, and they're unlikely to get a chance to play. That was an interesting point as well. Griekspoor with this reactive return that Ruud just lets. I mean, he lets it fly past him. It clips the line. He's talking to the umpire now. I think it's Greg Allensworth. Not sure what about what. In Perth yesterday, we had the challenge system. Do we have it here as well? Would it be really possible for this event to have two venues with different rules? I guess so, because there's no line umpires. That's actually hilarious, right? That I mean, hilarious. Yeah, it shouldn't be like this. Like one of these venues for the United Cup has a challenge system. One of them has electronic line calling. That's so weird. But yeah, Casper not too happy about the calls so far. Of course, not only because they were going Griekspoor's way, but like he actually disagreed with them. I think the return wasn't though. Double fault from Ruud to send us to deuce. Yeah, yeah. You guys talking about Nadal as well. Of course, he is. Yeah, he has drawn a qualifier indeed in Brisbane. It was raining earlier in there, but they have started some matches already. Thomas Mahach playing Blake Ellis. Oh wow, that's another cracked forehand return from Griekspoor cross court, very similar to the previous one. Again, as I said earlier, I don't think Ruud should be going for that serve quite a lot. But yeah, speaking of Brisbane, they have started the qualifying, so yeah, it could be a range of players. Some of them are ridiculously dangerous. I mean, it literally could be like Mahach or who else? Oh, I don't know. I would love to see Cressy Nadal again, for example, or maybe one of Quentin Ollis or Lucas Klein. Like these are players who could be very dangerous. And of course, you guys are mentioning Dominic Thiem. That would be like a big name showdown, of course. Whether the quality would be high, I guess at this point in time, we just cannot really answer that sort of question. Looks like Ruud is gonna crawl out of this, though. Two good serves, setting him up for a game point. Hmm. I mean, it is one of the most well-known umpires in the world. If it's like the gold badge Grand Slam guys, you're probably gonna know them. So has the format gone back to what the Hopman Cup used to be? More or less, Mike. Yeah, it's just more teams. So that is different, right? But the actual best of three rubbers in a tie, yeah, I mean it's pretty much it. Although one difference is that in the Hopman Cup you had just two players from each country, and you couldn't like sub in anyone for mixed doubles. You could sub in someone in terms of injuries. Like that's when you could actually use a reserve player. Whereas here you have these doubles competitors on your team. Basically, you might not use them. I mean, there are definitely going to be some teams which are just going to use the same players for singles and doubles, but like the Netherlands, if they're playing a mixed that's important, they're probably actually gonna put Koolhovens and Demis Hoersden. So it's like it's just a little broader, I guess, than the Hopman Cup in terms of the number of teams, and also the fact that you have these doubles specialists that you can use. You might, but you might not. Cressy future number one. Yeah, I guess this is a reference to his quotes. Anyway, 3-2 up, Tallon Griekspoor about to serve. And I think we're also going to be starting with Lehečka Zhang. By the way, in some countries, if you guys want to catch the stream, in some countries, this is actually on YouTube. I guess in countries that, no one is broadcasting this event in. I think last year we had, we as in Poland, we could watch this on YouTube, but now apparently some Polish TV channel is also showing this. So that avenue has been closed off for us. And of course, for me, a person that does not own a TV, that's not ideal. However, I will find my way around this, of course, and I will catch this match and also probably gonna put Lehečka and Zhang on the screen for myself as well, just to mention it from time to time and to follow both. Yeah, the Brisbane qualifying is also looking pretty sharp, but I don't think I will be able to fit in 3 matches on one screen. Alice Klein sounds like something right up my alley, though. Not gonna lie. Yeah, there was some sloppy error at the start of the game from Griekspoor, but he won the next point. And will he win the next one? That's another attempt of going second serve and volley to the backhand of Ruud. Definitely seems like a strategy by now. And it was a very similar serve kick to the Casper Ruud backhand, where usually Casper is just going to lift the ball into the air and give you an easy volley, but the serve was long. So some big hitting now from Griekspoor, but it's not doing too much damage to Ruud. He just easily sends all the balls back until Tallon eventually makes an error. I remember this match in Kozerki last year. I mean, 2022, so way over a year ago, actually, between Jiren Zhang and Thomas Mahach, where Jiren Zhang came up with a similar strategy, but then Mahach moved forward into the court when he was returning, and by the time he made that adjustment, Zhang was just completely lost, which I guess isn't completely accidental. Like, the guy is a little rough, a little raw, I guess, in terms of tactics and adjusting mid-match. He's of course as good as of a ball striker as it gets, really. But I'm not sure if Ruud has that sort of thing in his arsenal. Also, we'll see how often Griekspoor is going to be going for a strategy like this. Is it actually going to be that prevalent? I mean, it's 3 games twice already, so I guess it's going to be quite important. The next point finds him at the net as well, and that's, I mean, that's more of the Tallon Griekspoor that we saw at the Davis Cup finals in doubles. Casper really didn't do much with this first backhand. It was like an overhead, not a smash, but like a volley overhead from Griekspoor. But he just played it right at the Norwegian and got past. So it's 4-2 Ruud now. And a couple of points already where Griekspoor did not look too comfortable in the forecourt. And I guess they already managed to get the third court done as well in Brisbane, because the Peniston and Cressy are going to be coming up as well. Not that it matters for this match or even the United Cup. But for the United Cup, Lehečka and Zhang are already starting. Now Casper Ruud shows Tallon Griekspoor how it's done in terms of just playing a very good approach shot and then having an easy finish at the net. Something everyone could wrap up regardless of your technique, of your level of comfort inside the court. But it was of course a point mostly won by that cross-court forehand, which was quite sublime in terms of that ridiculous spin pace combination that that Ruud has on his best shot. Yeah, and Griekspoor still trying to go for his returns, but they haven't worked in quite a while. So yeah, this set is falling apart for the Dutchman very quickly, quicker than we thought it would. But of course, at 2-all, he no, was it 2-all? Yeah, it was 2-all, right? When he had a break point. So it was really just a matter of a few points, but these few points have gone Ruud's way, and now he is sort of comfortably cruising, you could even say, towards the first set. 5-2 up now. He's won the last 6 points or something like that. So in the meantime, as I said, I will also put on a stream of Lahečka Zhang. And from time to time, maybe I'll say something about that one. We'll see. Lahečka had such a huge Australian summer last year. That was the moment when he looked like a top 15 player, let's say. Yeah, the United Cup already showed that. I think it wasn't just the Australian Open. He was already really good at the Australian Open, especially at the United Cup, especially with how like his transition game improved and how much smarter he was in terms of shot selection and point construction. But it didn't necessarily stay with him until the end of the year. And of course, this match between him and Zhang also looks pretty tight to me. China are the outsiders in their group with Czechia and Serbia, but I don't think they should be that sort of an outsider. Like it's very feasible for the Zhang Zheng combo to actually, make some huge upsets. Why not? And they have such explosive potential that they might lose to anyone, really, but they can also beat anyone. Now a little better from Tallon, the drive volley, but still gave Ruud a bit of a chance. It was really slim, but gave him a bit of an opening, I guess, with this pass, but Casper couldn't control it too well. Now, of course, the main goal will be to stop the bleeding and somehow try to look for the break in the next game. 5-2 is definitely quite harsh on Griekspoor in terms of how this match was going. And I did use the past tense here with conviction, because right now it is going in a way where 5-2 is completely justified, especially after this forehand unforced error. But initially it wasn't like this. Maybe this will wake him up, though. Seemed like this backhand topspin return from Ruud that we've seen so many times already in this match, which was actually slightly mishit this time, was going to be a bit uncomfortable for Griekspoor, but he just fires an even bigger forehands down the line. So maybe this will inspire him to fight for this again. And again, we have that second serve and volley attempt. This time, Ruud doesn't even get clear contact on the ball, so it is 40-15. I mean, by now you can really see that it is a strategy, and it seems good, especially as he's doing it to the backhand side all the time, which of course is also by design. I think it's 4 times already in this match that he's done that. Once losing the point, but it was a double fault, so we didn't actually see how the point would have played out. And that's a game for Tallon Griekspoor, so he stops the bleeding indeed. He covers his wound with, with a bandage or whatever. And now it's time for Casper Ruud to try to serve out the opening set. If he does, again, that 2-all breakpoint that he saved might end up sort of looking as the most vital moment. Just a brief reminder that Norway and, well, Casper Ruud has to win this match in order to keep Norway in this tie. Who would be fielded by Norway in the mixed doubles? I think it's pretty clear that it would be Ruud Eikeri. That's their best bet. It's not a terrible team. It's definitely not as high class as the Dutch one, but you know, weird things happen, especially in these sort of formats, which aren't played by, well, basically aren't played week in, week out. So, the players aren't exactly used to it. So I wouldn't completely count out Norway still winning this tie. If, as of course, Ruud winning this one is a prerogative. It's like a prerequisite of their chances. But yeah, the mixed, they would have a slim hope there. But anyway, 3 set points Casper Ruud, just serving really well and not giving Griekspoor any shot here. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to say that we're gonna test the theory whether you're dead if you slice against Casper Ruud, but that slice actually doesn't even make it over the net. It was just really sloppy from Griekspoor. So that's actually a pretty quick set as well, going Ruud's favor. 30 minutes around or thereabouts. Both players really dominant on their first serves. Again, kind of shows you that these Australian summer courts recently have gotten pretty fast. But it was just that one game from Griekspoor and the uncertainty and the sort of doubtful play there at the net that led to his demise in the opener. Turning on Jean Lehechka now, it might be a good idea. I mean, we'll see. The break definitely took some wind out of Griekspoor's sails. Hopefully, that's not the last we've seen of his peak game in this match. Hopefully, he still has what it takes to fight here. I mean, obviously, he has it game wise, but so far we haven't really seen that, inspiration and the sort of freedom you would feel like he could play with, given that this is his, this is the freebie, right? This is the match that he can easily lose, and then Netherlands still has a chance to win. So we'll see how that ends up working out for him. But so far, I don't think we've really seen that that hunger, that drive that such a situation could give you. It is Casper Ruud's daddy, yes. Yeah, that Karatsev round two for Nadal, I really don't like that. I saw some people saying that it's a very manageable draw for Nadal. I hope they were just talking about the opening round, honestly, because Karatsev doesn't seem too manageable to me. It's sort of a matchup where you're just entering the court and hoping that he doesn't have a peak day, which might not happen. It might happen. Who knows? He's done that in Australia in the past, of course, winning Sydney in 2022. But yeah, I don't like that much for Rafa really. Not much of a weakness you can really expose in terms of the high topspin lefty forehand. Like if you go like this into the Karatsev backhand, I don't think he's gonna be really hurt. So yeah, but of course, getting a qualifier is pretty decent. There are some downsides to it. Like if it is really Mahach or like yeah Cressy or I don't know. Yeah, Dominic Thiem even honestly. Like if it was one of these guys, it's not easy. But then again, most of the draw, most of the quality of the qualifying, most of the players in the qualifying are going to be of lesser quality than the ones in the main draw. That sort of cannot be argued against. And maybe the biggest downside is actually that the player who Rafa is going to face is already going to have two matches under his belt in 2023. Well, 2024, the 2024 season, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, and Tallon Griekspoor is really unable to produce anything at the moment. It's a double fault to go 2 breakpoints down. I feel like I'm doing Davidovich Fokina Save of Wild again yesterday because it was pretty similar that the first few games were great and were sort of telling us, okay, this is going to be a close match. The underdog has a very solid chance. And then his game just falls apart completely. But hopefully it's not that yet. Hopefully it's not going to be a bagel second set like it was in Davidovich Fokina Save of Wild. To ensure it, Tallon Griekspoor could still win this game, and he does save the first breakpoint. It's a short return from Ruud. Oh no. Yeah, and it's a set and a break. Um, Decent approach, honestly. It was just one of these sort of moments when a chipped return, or maybe more so a blocked return from Ruud, puts Griekspoor in like a slightly uncomfortable position. But I think he did pretty well with the approach. I would actually love to see a replay of what happened there because Ruud like barely gets the ball over the net, and it bounces, I guess, off Griekspoor's frame. I would love to see a replay of this, but apparently we're not gonna get it shown. But it's not going to be shown to us. But yeah, seems like just another point where Griekspoor's ability at the net has been a little exposed. It's rare that it's so important in a match because, well, if you don't want to go to the net most of the time, you don't have to. But it's definitely been a bit of a strategy for the Dutchman here, and yeah, he's looked uncomfortable. That lob is also way too short. This is unraveling very, very quickly at the moment. Yeah, the practice sets, I don't know if they really matter. I remember Schwartzman beating Federer at Roland Garros one year, 6-3 in a practice set. And I remember being really worried about that because at the time I was, of course, like a hardcore Federer fan. Then he actually had a very nice run. I think it was 2019, the French in 2019, where of course he played very well and ended up losing to Rafa, but like it was still a really good match. It was really the matchup difference and the wind as well on the day that made it tricky. But I was like fully satisfied with his performance. So yeah, I couldn't really complain about it. But I remember being scared of that result. Psychological advantage, maybe. Then again, there's also the factor of people like being hungry to get a win like this, right? We talk about it sometimes with like Dominic Thiem, for example, when he came back in 2022, and from the get-go, he wasn't like, of course, he's not back, and even today, but he already was playing pretty decent, but he couldn't win a match for a while, and it was like every single opponent of his was playing a, like the best match of his life on the day, and it's not exactly a coincidence, I would say. I think there is that factor when you like run into a big name who can be sort of fragile on the day because, well, they're coming back after an injury. They're not exactly in the peak of their powers, and you like really want to get a win like this. But that could also work negatively, for sure. So there are two ways to look at it, and it's sort of hard to remember which it is not remember, but it's hard to estimate which one that will be sort of more in a more prevalent fashion. As Anastasia was saying, Iji Lahechka did break, and that might indeed be the match to watch. Not gonna lie. After we finish this one, if it is really as short as it's looking at the moment, I will definitely tune into that one before I go to bed. But maybe we are underestimating Griekspoor's ability to sort of stick around. He is a little frustrated, which is worrisome in terms of him being able to keep it close still. But he is 40 love up in this game anyway. He had a nice inside in forehand winner. I think I said it like a few games ago, that maybe this is a shot about a forehand, about a different forehand, about a forehand down the line. But maybe this is a shot that will wake him up. And I'm gonna say it again. Maybe if he actually like this game and that shot will bring him to a point where he's fighting for it again. Looks like we might have a break back in the Lehechka Zhang match, though. I saw a pretty good pass from the Chinese, which Lehechka couldn't quite catch. He's trying to stretch to his forehand, to a forehand, find the forehand volley on the stretch. And now he has to save a couple of breakpoints at 2-1. That's in Perth, of course. The Ruud match is in Sydney. Oh, well, the first point is the first breakpoint is saved in very comfortable fashion, though. Ruud and Nori feel like that they're at a similar juncture, ceilings. I don't know. Nori alongside Ruud. I understand in terms of like the fact that they might have peaked already, but I think one of them is like a league above. But who knows? Of course, Cameron Norrie is a player who has already exceeded sort of everyone's expectations, really. I remember conversations like, "Is he the worst player in the top 100?" Like that was literally a conversation, and now he's a Masters 1000 champion and a top 20 sort of stable. But he might not be a top 20 stable soon. I mean, who knows? He defends quite a lot of points in the first 2 months. Lehechka has saved the 2 breakpoints, but I mean, this backhand now from Zhizhen Zhang, absolutely sick in terms of like how sharp it is technically, and also the direction, completely wrong footing, Iji. I've said it many times on the show before, but I really don't think there's that much separating the prime ball strikers of the sport and Zhizhen Zhang. It's like more so all the details that are separating him from these guys. Well, maybe one of these details is how he completely wasted that second serve return opportunity. No, John has not played any, I guess, but he will play me. I will make this happen, and I will beat him as well. No, I don't know if I will beat him. I don't really care about that, but that show match should happen at some point. Of course, it's going to be quite hard to organize given we live in different countries, but I'm confident that there will be a point when we manage to do that. Oh, and that's unexpected from Casper Ruud, who now has a nightmare of a game, and he goes down low 40, and the third point was a double fault. So yeah, all of a sudden we have 3 breakpoints for Tallon Griekspoor, and maybe this match is not over yet. Especially as Griekspoor has a very real chance of winning the point, but he's not going to claim it. I don't think he will. Yeah, he missed it. That was a weird rally. Ruud was put in like this uncomfortable spot with the slice from Griekspoor, which I don't think he meant it to be this short, but that was actually quite hard for Ruud to sort of come up with something, invent a shot at the net. Still, eventually the point goes to the Norwegian as Griekspoor just misses this backhand pass. So 2 more breakpoints, another really good serve. Ooh. And Tallon Griekspoor actually wins the point when he slices at Casper Ruud. The contact point of the Norwegian here was quite poor. One more step forward and he probably would have hit it perfectly. So a bit of a wasted opportunity for Ruud to win this point and to stay in the game. Definitely his worst game of the match so far, and Griekspoor is back in it. What was definitely cool from Griekspoor's perspective in that point was the way he was able to defend his backhand corner, and the depth on that cross-court shot was basically what sort of not maybe won him the point right away, but really got him back in it, because after the return, it just seemed like this is exactly the point that Ruud will be dominating, because he has, his inside-out forehand out, and he's like, yeah, he's like just going to pounce on it, and he's going to hit 3 of these shots and eventually win the point. But the depth on the Griekspoor backhand actually made it a little tricky for Ruud. And then the rest was history. Still, that needs to be consolidated. That needs to be converted by the Dutchman. And even this 15 all points feels pretty crucial in a situation like this. And I guess until the finishing blow, he did everything right here. But he does send the forehand long, so it's 15-30, and he might be falling into trouble again. An ace will be handy here for sure. So 30 all. Yeah, that's right. That the kit of China kind of looks like Spain. I'm glancing over to the other stream of Jean Klachechka, and I see that there's yet another breakpoint for the Czech, who, of course, got out of that sticky situation in the previous game. Someone who will also have to get out of a sticky situation is Tallon Griekspoor. So right after breaking back, he is having issues consolidating it. It's a decent serve, but it's back, and now they're just trading backhands. I wanted to say that I don't know who is going to benefit from that, but once Griekspoor played like a very short down the middle backhand, it was clear that it was going to be Ruud. And this time, he actually messes it up at the net. So this time, I guess it's the turn of Ruud to do everything right and then mess up the finishing blow. It's a very similar volley technically to what he's already hit earlier in the match. And on that previous occasion, he did it perfectly. So no, it is in, right? Really, it's not? Okay, my eye is horrible today apparently. Another blocked return from Ruud that makes it actually a little tough for Griekspoor. He cannot, go fully after his +1 forehand. He needs to lift it a little bit into the air, and Ruud tries to lob the Dutchman, but apparently it was out. So game point Griekspoor, and a chance to definitely extend his chances here in this set. Yeah, that's quite wild. He goes for that strategy of playing his +1 shot as a slice approach again to the Ruud backhand, needless to say. But that was, yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it was wide or long. It was like, if you put two chords on that in that arena, I don't know if it would have made it in. Maybe it's just another case of, he has some strategies for Ruud today, but he's not like fully comfortable playing them. I see that Zhang held though, so it's still just one break for Lehechka. It's a huge bench for the Czech team as well. But well, of course they have the depth. They can bring in 1,000 players. Shot of the match so far, probably, as Casper Ruud passes Griekspoor on the run. Again, you could argue that the volley wasn't great, but the pass certainly was superb. Yeah, this time the approach is better, though. I mean, I don't even know if to qualify it as an approach shot. I mean, he just basically wrapped up this point with this +1 backhand. It was pretty short, but it was not low enough this time to make him uncomfortable, to make him have to hit it up into the air a touch. And that's the sort of return that Ruud does not want to be feeding Griekspoor. Probably doesn't want points like that to happen either. Yeah, certainly not after Griekspoor finishes it off with the smash, but earlier on he got a few forehands in. Found that down the line taken very early, which on a few occasions already in this match has been a nightmare for Ruud to handle. And yeah, Tallon Griekspoor 3-2. So that's good for the match, definitely. That's good for the competitiveness of this. He is back. He was already 3-6-0 to down, having lost how many games in a row? Well, not actually, not in a row. There was this one when he at 2-5 he won a game, right? But there was a moment, I guess, when he won one out of 7 games. Now he is actually on a winning streak of 3. Ghosty also appreciating the Ruud forehand pass. And here we have the wide Czech bench that I was talking about on the screen. Yes, indeed, the Chinese jersey or whatever, it looks like Spain for sure. Since it's the changeover, of course, now I'm watching Lehechka Zhang. Might be another match where the 4-2 scoreline that Lehechka seems to be entering is a little misleading, given what we saw a couple of games ago. But, well, it's definitely an exciting showdown as well. Two players with very aggressive games, probably yet to unleash their full potential. Hopefully, at least. Who do you think is the better tennis player? Ooh. Um, Yeah, I have no clue how Ghosty plays. I also have no clue how John plays, but I can sort of guess from his from what he was saying and what he was talking about that he's probably no Roger Federer, and he's also probably no my mom or my grandma who have never held a racket before. But of course, between amateur tennis players and in general, there are so many levels to the sport that it's basically impossible to tell. Ghosty spends so much time on these streams that I don't know if he could really find time to play tennis as well. How do you do that? A few games ago, we've had the Casper Ruud lob that barely missed the baseline. Now Tallon Griekspoor shows him how it's done. And he doesn't even play it that close to the line. But yeah, it's a very sweet lob. It gives him a great opportunity as well. Lob 30 down. Ooh, if this return landed in as well, but it doesn't. It would have been right at Ruud's feet. Probably not giving him the point right away, but he would have had the advantage for sure. Yeah, that return is just going to be capitalized, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, capitalized on. Ruud's definitely a touch more clinical when it comes to converting chances like this. Just no real moment of you know weakness, full clarity in terms of what he wants to do with this short ball. Then the smash as well, looking very routine, and a great serve down the tee. This has been a weird second set for sure. Griekspoor looking down and out. 3-6 love to kinda looking like he's not even that motivated to keep fighting. Then he wins 3 games in a row. Now he's actually 30 love up as well. But yeah, oof, this forehand return is just completely mistimed. So yeah, 3 games all. By now, we just have absolutely no clue what's going to happen in the second set from here, as basically the players just keep throwing us under the bus. They just keep giving us these new scenarios that we weren't thinking of before. And that's, of course, pretty cool because at 3-6 love 2, a pessimist, that the pessimist in me even was already writing off Griekspoor. Maybe it's just PTSD from Sejbovic Davidovich Fokina yesterday. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. Griekspoor goes for this second serve and volley strategy again, but this time he places it just a little tentatively. Like he didn't even go at the Ruud backhand. I think it was down the middle, and Casper is quick to run around it and just wins it with a forehand pass return winner. And yeah, that's the danger of it, I guess. That if your serve is not placed well enough, you might run into Ruud actually hitting a forehand return, and then you're in trouble. It's the school of returning of Stefanos Tsitsipas on clay and Casper Ruud, I guess, as well. When you basically stand 3 meters behind the baseline in order to take everything from the forehand side, even a shot like this, which theoretically should be to your backhand corner. But I would still blame this on Griekspoor, just hitting the second serve down the middle with nothing on it, really. It's a little interesting as well that Griekspoor felt the need to bring out all of this against Ruud today, like felt the need to improvise quite a lot and actually add to his game, because to me, I just sort of felt like, his usual forehand offense is what was going to potentially win him this match. rather than, well, the shenanigans, I suppose. But early on, they were working out, so I cannot really criticize it that much. But yeah, now Casper Ruud again, 3 breakpoints. There was an opportunity for Griekspoor to win the previous point, as Ruud had to go for a forehand down the line and was really far wide out of the court after it. But the cross-court backhand from Griekspoor, it kind of should have been routine, I guess, played with a lot of margin, but it wasn't. Another slice approach on the +1 shot from the Dutchman, and this time it works out. Ruud was close to making this backhand pass, but honestly, if it landed, it would have been a lucky shot. Like, he did not hit it cleanly. But yeah, it was actually pretty close to going in. So 2 more breakpoints in the Norwegians' favor. And especially as it's on second serve now, he'll be looking at a possibility to attack. It's a shame for Griekspoor that this was a let, because that was one of his riskiest second serves in the entire match. And it feels like it actually would have given him a fair advantage. He goes for it again. And yeah, it doesn't work out. I mean, he goes for it again. He serves and volleys on second serve to the Ruud backhand. And this was probably the best one of these lifted backhand returns that we've seen from Ruud so far when he's facing that strategy. It seemed that Griekspoor still can do something with this. He played a decent half volley, but Ruud was too quick there. I mean, he was just able to smash that ball top to bottom. And yeah, again, he is up a set and a break. And this time it kind of feels like he's going to take it home, right? But we'll see, of course. But yeah, again, the strategy of serving volleying on second serve with a kick to Ruud's backhand, not really working out. And is it a case of execution? In this one, I actually would say that this was just a really good return from Casper, the best one we've had so far in this pattern, because usually it's just a sort of small, slow lifted ball down the middle. This time it was also a slow lifted ball, but it was also placed very well. So yeah, the Ruud backhand is not a good shot, but well, sometimes still it manages to be effective. Of course, it's not a good shot relative to his forehand and even his serve, honestly, and probably most of the, let's say, top 20 ground strokes, top 20 players' ground strokes. But of course, relative to mine, it's still amazing. Just to be clear. Um, What do we think of my pronunciation of? Yeah, I sometimes say Griekspoor, I sometimes say Griekspoor. I honestly mix it up. It probably should be with a bit of an H sound, right? But well, the Dutch names are usually a nightmare. Maybe not. Maybe this one is pretty okay, but there are a lot of Dutch names that I'm struggling with. So, especially Hiesbrouwer or whatever, whatever it's read like. That one is just completely um, impossible to comprehend for me. Yeah, Ghosty is complaining about the tennis broadcasting rights and etc. Of course, I very much second that. I once said that I'm not gonna pay for tennis TV until they have all the qualifying doubles and etc. And I am keeping up. I'm keeping that promise. I'm still I'm still not a subscriber, and I've never been one. It does make my life harder, definitely. Even though I would have to pay money, it makes my life harder. But yeah, I'm sort of treating this as like a political statement, you know. Unless you start showing doubles, qualifying, and all of these other things, well, outside courts as well at many events that are not shown, unless you admit that these events are part of the tour and that these matches are part of the tour, you're not getting my money. Of course, by myself and without like a political rally, let's say, my voice doesn't mean. Again, it's 3:52 a.m. and I want to swear, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it doesn't mean a thing to them, but it means to me. It means something to me. Oh, it's Casper Ruud taking a book out of Griekspoor's playbook and slicing to the, slice approaching at the Dutchman. And again, the lob is a little too short. I think out of all the lobs that Griekspoor played in this match, there was that one that was excellent, but most of them have ended with Ruud's smash winners. Yeah, another great performance from Griekspoor. I mean, I don't know if this ends in this if this match ends in this game. Maybe it doesn't even end in the next one, but just the how many games we've had so far? 15 games that we've seen? No, I can't count. It's 17. 17 games that we've seen so far. They've been a little rough. It's not the Tallon Griekspoor of the peak moments from 2022. Of course, he's won 2 ATP Tour titles in 2023 and also made an ATP 500 final, made it almost to the top 20. Lots to like about that campaign. So far, the first match of 2024 is not going as bright. Of the 2024 season, yes, not the year. I had some Twitter police yesterday under my tweet where I literally said that Alejandro Davidovich Fukina is the first winner of the 2024 season, ATP Tour season. I had some Twitter police telling me it's 2023, or for example, it's United Cup, not the ATP Tour. Well, it is part of the ATP Tour. And it's also the 2024 season. Sorry. Griekspoor will at least hold 6-3-5-4. Ruud will have to serve it out. He'll still have to work for it. So far, I think he's only been broken once, right? When Griekspoor was returning from that 0-2 deficit in the second set. There's been a few other tough games though. So maybe there is hope for a longer match, but yeah, I'm very much side with Gene there when earlier, well, 2 minutes ago actually. I thought it was earlier, but it's 2 minutes ago when there was a comment that this match seems over, and it does seem over to me as well. Tennis TV is, I don't think it's different in different regions, but doubles is sometimes shown on Tennis TV, but a lot of the time they just take out the cameras and the broadcasting crew out of the stadium. And basically, the only thing about Tennis TV that frustrates me is that when they don't have like the full package of TV production, they're not going to just give you a stream of one camera behind the players. And that's why it's not shown for the most part, because for the qualifying, no one does that. So, yeah. I mean, when they start doing that, call me. Oh, yeah, indeed. Gilles and Zhang with 3 breakpoints on the Hechka, so that match will still be going after our stream. So, some good watching after this match, which sort of failed to live up to the expectations so far. I'm now watching that first break point, and Lehechka goes to the net and misses the backhand stab volley, I guess you could call it. So 5-0. Xi Zhenzhang has broken back. Now can Tallon Griekspoor do the same? The job seems a little tougher, especially as Casper Ruud has now won the first point. Yeah, and that's another unreturned serve. Certainly not a great performance on return from Griekspoor. He also, as we were talking about it during the match, he tried out a few things that also failed, especially these slice approaches and second serves to the Ruud backhand. There were a few that worked out, but yeah, I'm not sure he really needed to try to be so inventive against Casper. It felt to me like in these conditions he should be able to trouble him otherwise. But we don't know, how his off season went. Not a great start to his 2024 campaign, but well, now it's going to be mixed doubles between the Netherlands and Norway. Probably Ruud coming back. I don't think Griekspoor is coming back onto the court. It's likely to just be Wesley Kolhoff. And Ruud is probably just going to play with Ulrika Ikeri, I would assume. Yeah, actually a pretty nice choice over the next hour or so, right? You can either watch Lehechka Zhang or you can watch that. So, but yeah, that's I guess going to be it then. My matches always end very early on the commentary, which sometimes I don't mind. I mean, this time I'm gonna be staying up to watch Lehechka Zhang anyway, so I wouldn't have been angry at Griekspoor and Ruud if they went on for 3 hours, but they didn't. So anyway, keep subscribing because we are close to 5K. We want to hit it until the end of the year. It's going to be hard, but it's doable. So you guys know what to do for sure. And again, thank you for this stream, and see you some other time. I wish it was a better match, but well, Tallon Griekspoor did not deliver today.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
quando mi fa male.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Hi Novak. I don't know if you saw what Vasek said last night about organising and tennis could and should be even bigger than it already is if only the people organising it were doing their job properly. He highlighted the balls, he highlighted playing late at night and then early in the morning and injuries. I just wondered whether you heard that, but also if you'd like to add something.
No, I haven't heard that. I actually saw Vasek just before I came here to see you guys, but I haven't seen his statement on that. But there's been a lot of discussions on the effect of the different balls and basically every week on the joints and the wrist and the shoulders and the elbows. And I think someone told me that in terms of injuries this year comparing to other years is drastically has gone up. So in terms of the balls, I absolutely agree. There should be some discussion on that. I actually spoke about that with Andrea Gaudenzi, the ATP president, and Massimo, who is the CEO, in Paris during the Paris Bercy week. And I shared my opinion and my views, and then obviously they are thinking about various different options and ways of how to regulate that and how to make it better for the players and prevent injuries. In terms of the scheduling, I think there has been a lot of criticism and a lot of players complaining about it. So I think that should be addressed in a proper way. Obviously, Davis Cup and ITF is regulated differently from ATP Tour and from Grand Slams. You have different governing bodies, different schedules, different broadcasting demands. In the end of the day, we know that the TV is the one deciding, fortunately or unfortunately, but there has to be more, I guess, thorough discussions on that as well.